What's going on, guys? So in a past video on the Moog vocoder, I came across some synths that Moog never widely released, and so I wondered what other synthesizers or effects has Moog made that are almost impossible to get a hold of, while the re-release of Moog's Model 10 modular synthesizer shows that Moog is most definitely capable of bringing some of these instruments back to life. So let's discuss the items that have gone missing in action and what I'd like to see reemerge. So I brought it up before, but the Moogerfooger and MiniFreak line are quite possibly some of my favorite Moogs ever. But there is a much rarer effect that exists where if you can get a hold of it, you are an absolute legend. Starting in 2011, Moog created what I believe was the first and only 500 series effects. Moog's The Ladder, and 1 year later in 2012, the Moog Analog Delay. While the former is, quote, a dynamic low-pass, high-pass filter based on Bob Moog's original ladder filter design. This unique module allowed recording engineers to dynamically process existing sounds through a completely new palette of harmonically expansive, overdriven, and thickening analog circuits. And the Moog Delay, which, quote, we essentially took what we knew from designing the Moogerfooger 104 and 104M delays, and then spent a ton of money on audiophile quality parts. I'm sure most of us love the Moog ladder filter circuit, based on two symmetrical cascades of 4 transistors with a capacitor between each pair of transistors. Just gorgeous sounding. One of the sickest parts of the 500 series from Moog is that the delay module could actually be plug-in controlled via MIDI, either standalone or VST. That's pretty sick when you think about that was over a decade ago. I personally own a MiniFreak delay pedal, and it is by far the most intoxicating analog delay pedal I've ever used. Sadly, in 2017, the last of the ladder and delay were exclusively sold through a handful of retailers, and I've never personally seen one myself. And unfortunately, for most of us, we'll probably never own one, since these days, those two 500 series modules go upwards of $2,000, which is twice as much as they were when they were released. Currently, Moog actually doesn't have any standalone time-based effects in their lineup, or, well, really any other effects. So will we see these again? Probably not. Next, Moog's own B-Fam. And no, I didn't say D-Fam, I said B as in Brian. The B-Fam, or brother from another mother, while initially I thought that the B-Fam was a precursor to the Mother 32, I was quickly corrected when I saw that the B-Fam was actually released in 2016, a year or so after the Mother 32 came out. So you can see the resemblance here. Anyways, at the 2016 Moog Fest, there was an opportunity to build your very own single voice modular Moog, but this time with a more traditional 8-stage analog sequencer, which is much different than the Moog Mother 32's more modern design. This appealed more to those people who wanted, say, a more old school feel to their sequencer. While the B-Fam was the star of the show, and only 100 were ever made, that's not actually what was lost in time here. Moog had 3 modules on display that year, and the other 2 were the geodesic sampler and the geospatial reverb, which were custom built specific for the global synthesizer. And, well, what's the global synthesizer, you ask? Well, it is, quote, an interactive electronic musical instrument installation where users can synthesize environmental sounds from around the world, utilizing an archive of atmospheric field recordings from diverse geographies. The Global Synthesizer project empowers users to create new sonic environments through manipulation of the source material. While I wasn't able to find any sound examples of these, they must exist somewhere. We all know Moog hasn't released any era rack module smaller in HP than the either Mother or Subharmonicon, so seeing them dabble into something a little more boutique and unique is interesting. Will we ever see the geodesic sampler or the geospatial reverb? I can very confidently say probably not. Really quick, I wanted to talk about this video's sponsor, which is Soundation. And now, Soundation is a pretty cool service where you can build and create tracks right in your web browser. And well, I know this because I actually have a subscription myself. Yes, I paid for my own subscription. But Soundation is really great because it's convenient and fun if you're a beat maker and just want to jump in and quickly make some music. And there's a bunch of really great samples in there. Or if you're into playing more, you can grab your PC's keyboard and use it just like a piano and play a synth, you know, just like that. So I actually made a set of beatmaker kits, so you can check out my samples. So take a listen. These were all made with a mix of analog drum machines, my favorite analog synthesizer, and my go-to monster digital synth. So you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, collaborate with others online and remix my own stuff if you're feeling it. Use discount code NOIRBEATS for 60% off the creator yearly subscription. The code's on screen now, so yeah, thanks Soundation, and back to the video. Lastly, while most of you know I got my hands on the very, probably too expensive 16-band Moog vocoder earlier this year, I want to speak about Moog's own alternative, the Spectravox, exclusively released back in 2019 at Moog Fest's Engineering Workshop. While it's more than a vocoder, it's got 10 bands and it's semi-modular. So yeah, you can take an external polyphonic synth and use it as a carrier. The Spectravox is, for all purposes, a do-it-yourself vocoder. One of the lucky few people to ever build and own one was actually Loopop, who thankfully made a whole video in his style about it, so you know it's comprehensive. This is probably the most detailed and compelling evidence of why Moog should revisit this model. Built as an analog vocoder based on Homer Dudley's 1939 patent, it has 8 bandpass filters in the middle, a low pass and a high pass filter on either side. The filters have a 12 dB per octave slope, and you can shift their cutoff frequency together. They also have joint resonance control. Bringing up even 2 or 3 of the filters gives Spectravox its sound and distinctive format vowel-like character. As a true fan of vocoders, the Spectravox is the most compelling thing on this list, but will it ever be mass released? I have no idea. So quickly before I go, I want to say that I have nothing against Moog keeping their runs small and leaving the products in the past just there. My issue is that Moog has almost no public information on things like Brother from Another Mother or the Spectravox. I searched their website to gain more insider information or even a manual or a spec sheet, and you search in nothing. It's like they never existed. While maybe this is an attempt to add to the lore or the story, I can't say for sure. So anyways, remember to like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.